What's up everyone, Darcblade here bringing you another Mass Effect 3 multiplayer class guide. In this episode we're going to be taking a look at one of the Quarian classes, the Quarian Marksman. This guy has a lot of damage output thanks to the insane amount of headshot damage, but relies heavily on weaponry. Also, unlike other Quarians, he has less health and shields, making him more vulnerable. Now, like all my classes, I spec them for the harder difficulties in the game. Firstly, I max out Marksman, a great ability for the Quarian Marksman. I put points into accuracy and firing rate over recharge speed. Accuracy and firing rate will increase your overall damage performance, whilst recharge speed is only useful when you're really using heavy loadouts, which I wouldn't advise on this guy. Next, I put points into headshot over duration. Now, I would normally go with duration, like for example on the Quarian Solider, a class who also has this ability. But with the Quarian Marksman, you can really dish out insane amounts of damage with headshots thanks to the headshot bonus of Marksman, Tactical Scan, and their passive headshot bonus. So this is why I chose this over duration. Lastly, I went for firing rate over accuracy. Both of these options are good, and it really comes down to what weapon you want to use. If you prefer a sniper rifle or something with a lot of recoil, then maybe go with accuracy. If you're using a slow firing weapon, then maybe go for firing rate. I personally went for firing rate as it seems to benefit all weapons more than accuracy. Next is Tactical Scan. I put points into Area Scan over damage. Both of these are good options, but Area Scan will slightly help your team out a bit more. But to be honest, I would really say this one is down to personal preference. Both of these options are good. Next, I put points into headshot over movement speed. The headshot damage increase combined with the marksman headshot damage increase means that you can really do some nasty damage with headshots. This is why movement speed was dropped. Lastly, I went for weapon damage over power damage. This is a simple choice, as the damage from the Quarian Marksman will come from his weaponry. Lastly, I skipped over Sabotage. I'm not a huge fan of this ability at the best of times, and I felt that it was kind of wasted on the Quarian Marksman's loadout. It is useful when it comes to certain enemies, but it does feel situational. Unless you can take advantage of Sabotage that have points in places such as tech vulnerability or backfire, then I would skip it for the Quarian Marksman. Finally, with the passives, I max out Quarian Defender, putting points into weapon damage, headshot, and finally weapon damage again. Lastly, with fitness, I went for full health and shields. The Quarian Marksman is slightly weaker in terms of shields and health than his Quarian brothers and sisters, and so I felt this was needed here. As for weaponry, you need to pick wisely here. The Quarian Marksman needs decent weapons to do the damage. I would normally go for a high rate of fire weapon, either an assault rifle such as the Revenant or Typhoon, or maybe a submachine gun. I personally love the Hurricane, so I went with that. But you also want to be aware of the headshot bonus and go with something that is maybe a little bit more accurate, like a sniper rifle. If you did want to go for the sniper rifle, then maybe a weapon such as the Black Widow would be beneficial here, although it is heavy. In this video, I was experimenting a little bit and I went for the Viper. Not the best of weapons, but I wanted to mix my gameplay up a little bit. I didn't want to show you videos of me using the same weapons throughout all the videos. One thing to remember though is, don't overweigh yourself too much. You still need a fairly quick cooldown timer with the Quarian Marksman, so you can activate your Tactical Scan and Marksman quite often. As for your gear slot, go with something to increase your weapon damage if you can. Failing that, maybe go with something to help increase your shields. Anyway, let's get into the heart of the episode and talk about the Quarian Marksman's moves and abilities. Its first ability is Marksman, a great ability that really helps the character's damage output. The only other class to have this ability is the Quarian Solider. When activated, Marksman will boost weapon accuracy and firing rate for a short period of time. This works really well for most weapons. The only ones that don't seem to benefit too much from Marksman are single shot weapons and weapons with very small clips. When Marksman is active, you will notice small hexagon shapes appear over the Quarian Marksman. It will also make your screen go a little blurry. It's very subtle, not easy to spot at first, but once you get used to it, you can recognise and indicate when Marksman is activated or not. You really want to use Marksman as often as you can, almost for all encounters where possible. Now, as I said when I was talking about my spec, with the Quarian Solider, who also has this ability, I would normally go for duration over headshot, as it tends to sway more towards the rapid fire weapons such as the Revenants and stuff like that. But with the Quarian Marksman, I go for headshot. This is because the overall potential headshot damage that the Quarian Marksman can do is extremely high, thanks to the bonus from Marksman, Tactical Scan, and your passive. Marksman really is the key to success with this character. Marksman combined with the right weaponry can turn this guy into a beast. Some players like to use snipers more on this character than rapid fire weapons, so they can get the most out of the headshot bonus, but I personally prefer the rapid fire weapons such as the Hurricane. In this video I'm trying to demonstrate both, hence why I'm using two weapons in this video. End of the day though, the ability Marksman will help weapons that have a slow rate of fire or have a lot of recoil. The next ability is Tactical Scan, an ability that is only available to the male Quarians. This ability allows the Quarian Marksman to reveal weaknesses in enemies' defences, increasing all damage dealt to the target and slowing its movement speed. It also provides the team with a tactical readout showing the enemy's location to all players. You will also be able to see the highlighted targets, or targets depending if you put points into area scan, through walls, as well as on the Quarian Marksman's Omni tool. This is a great move to help you and your team out. It's especially effective when it comes to harder opponents such as Banshees or Atlases, boss type characters. This is because they take a while to bring down, and Tactical Scan does have a lengthy animation, meaning that when you use Tactical Scan on weaker opponents such as Husks, the enemy may have been killed before you can get any benefits from the scan, normally by your teammates. This is why I would normally save your scan for harder opponents and don't waste it on Husks or Cannibals. Tactical Scan has a nice aspect to it too. It can be cast whilst you're in cover, and you don't need a direct line of sight to activate it. You still need to be able to see the target, but your character can be hiding behind cover when he casts the scan. However, Tactical Scan cannot be cast at an infinite range. You need to be able to highlight your target for it to work, I'm afraid. Remember that with the Quarian Marksman, try to scan harder targets before activating Marksman. This way you can get that awesome headshot damage bonus. The last ability is Sabotage. I skipped out this ability as I said at the start of the video. This is because I felt that Sabotage is best suited for other characters. Marksman and Tactical Scan work so much better for the Quarian Marksman than Sabotage. Sabotage can be the destroyer of Geth as it allows you to mind control them. But if you like to play unknown enemies, which I tend to do, you are playing with a 1 in 4 chance that you will come across them. Now I know Sabotage works on other races' weapons too, but it's not as good when compared to fighting the Geth in my opinion. If the Quarian Marksman did have another damaging tech move, then I might take Sabotage with tech vulnerability. I would also consider it when fighting organic races by putting points into backfire, which would allow for the setup of tech bursts on them. But alas, the Quarian Marksman has no way to activate them, and thus this is why I've skipped out Sabotage. As for the passives, I would normally say these are down to personal preference. With Quarian Defender, I wanted to focus everything on increasing my weapon damage output. On top of that, I wanted to get that extra 20% headshot damage. I know in the heat of battle it can sometimes be hard to focus on headshots, but the extra damage is well worth it on boss type enemies. If you are new to the game or don't have a lot of high level weapons, you could consider putting points into reducing the weapon weight, as you don't want an exceedingly heavy loadout, but this will nerf your damage output a bit. With fitness, go for health and shields all the way. The Quarian Marksman, for some reason that is lost to me, has lower health and shields than his fellow Quarians. Odd, seeing as he is a soldier. But anyway, put points into increasing the health and shields, and this will help your survivability. He won't be able to take a ton of damage, so be aware of this and use cover when available. Now when it comes to weaponry, it doesn't really matter too much what you choose. Go for something that's not too heavy, but whatever you choose, marksmanship will increase the effectiveness of whatever weapon it is you have chosen. In this video I went for the Hurricane, my favourite weapon, as this weapon has a high rate of fire, but also has a fair bit of recoil, meaning that Marksman will really help this weapon. On the other hand, I did also want to take advantage of the headshot bonuses at long range, so I went for a sniper rifle. I would normally go for the Black Widow. Now normally the Black Widow would also benefit from Marksman, despite it only being 3 shots before you have to reload. But because I was worried about the weapon weight, I went for the Viper alongside my Hurricane. Other weapons you might want to consider for this character may be the Revenant or maybe the Saber. There is no real right or wrong answer when it comes to weaponry on this character. Now the Quarians as a race are not that different from humans. They have slightly above average health and shields, although the Quarian Marksman does have reduced health and shields, making him more similar to humans in terms of survivability. The Quarian Marksman's dodge mechanic is a combat hop. This allows them to easily dodge slow incoming fire. They also have a nice forward and backwards roll, very similar to the human classes. Their melee moves are pretty straightforward and nothing to shout home about. Their light melee is a simple combo with the butt of their weapon, while their heavy melee is an incendiary omniblade. Overall, the Quarian Marksman is not a bad class at all. He can support the team with his tactical scan and be a damage dealer at the same time. It is a class that can really take advantage of headshots more than some of the other classes in the multiplayer. With the right weapons, this class can really shine. Of course, having a high level weapon will also increase the effectiveness of this character. Anyway, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my Mass Effect 3 multiplayer class guide to the Quarian Marksman. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.